Morning, and welcome to Two Up Top. Finally, after that little technical glitch, but we're here now with myself, Gav Mack, and Flo Wolfrum. How are you, Flo?
Good morning, Gav. I'm very good after yesterday's derby win for our team. Thank you very much, and good morning and many greetings from the Bayer Leverkusen office where I'm sitting today.
Oh, check you out. Ooh, I'm sitting in the Bayern Leverkusen office. Well, I'm sitting at home, and once this show's finished, I will be going back to bed because this is way too early for me.
Well, the office is less spectacular than it sounds. So.
Well, there's plenty to talk about on this morning's show. We'll be talking about some danger happening in Bremen. Nobody wants second spot. I think I've decided that. And Favre, Lucien Favre is a fraud. So we'll be talking about those sort of things on this morning's show of Two Up Top Game Day 32 review. Where shall we start? I'll tell you what. Let's talk about Dortmund. Dortmund versus Mainz. That, as I said, Lucien Favre does not want second spot. I don't think he actually wants a job. He's doing everything he can to lose his position there. Dortmund 0, Mainz 2. It's probably the most shocking result of the weekend, of the midweek games. Bullet headed from Baku from the cross. Sorry. Baku, the right back, crossed it in for Burkhardt to make it 1-0. And Mateta scored a penalty, which is 27 straight penalties for Mainz. What is going on with Favre and Dortmund?
It looked a little bit like there was a pressure relief in a bad way, in a negative way, because they didn't seem focused, and it seems like they can't be champions anymore. Champions League is secured. Season will be over soon, and it looked a little like that Favre has already closed the book of Borussia Dortmund, like they will separate in summer maybe, and not going with 100% into this match, and maybe not into the next two upcoming matches they have in this season, because the season's already over for them. That's what was my impression about yesterday's game.
Do you think that he deserves to stay for another year?
It depends on the ambitions of Borussia Dortmund. He played two good seasons. It's okay if you finish second. They always last season they had like around about 70 points. Now they have a little less. So they were playing quite okay. But their ambition is to become champions. And if you want to become champions, you need another coach, I believe, because I could not see, especially after Christmas, I could not see a development of the team, and they had huge signings in winter with Can and Haaland, and couldn't become a runner-up for the race of champions, or a good runner-up. So I guess a new coach could be a good alternative for Borussia Dortmund. Yeah,
I think it needs it. Since Christmas, I know we've had a big gap with COVID. We're all fully aware of that, but since Christmas, their whole style of football's changed. They were so fluid and nice and easy on the eye. As I said, I've mentioned a couple of times on previous shows that I feel that Leverkusen and Mönchengladbach play the best football in the league. But it was Dortmund who were playing the best football in the league, and they just seem to have lost all their swagger. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. They don't seem very comfortable playing through the lines anymore. They're not getting the ball out quickly to Hakimi and to Guerrero. They're going back and using Schmelzer more and Piszczek more. You know, I just think I think they're a team that look like they're about to go backwards, and I think something needs to change before they end up doing that.
But the question is, which manager could be an improvement? You know, who is on the market, who is free at the moment? I don't really have a name on the list, I have to admit.
Well, it's a weird time, isn't it? Because normally what would happen, a team would lose their manager in an even number year, and then they'll be looking at the best talent around the world or around Europe. So they'll look at a World Cup, or this year they will look at the situation, what's happening in the Euros, and be like, right, that manager He's had a great season. Let's have a punt on him somewhere, like one club will, which will start a managerial merry-go-round. Well, with the Euros not being held this year, that merry-go-round might not happen. And then it could be, I don't know. I couldn't see where Favre would go next in order for him to come in. But over the years, it will be like, well, Allegri is out of work at the moment. So would Allegri go somewhere and dislodge someone's job? So therefore, that would just create that circle going round as it normally happens. But yeah, I think they might as well just give it to a kid, mate. I don't think they need to go out there and look for someone experienced. If you do something a little bit like what Hoffenheim did with Nagelsmann, or as he went on to Leipzig, do something like that and just give him a free couple of years, or like what Chelsea are doing with Lampard. No pressure, just do what you can for a year or two, and then let's have a serious dig at Bayern Munich, who were crowned champions on Tuesday night, and let's talk about that. Werder Bremen 0, Bayern Munich 1. The goal came from Robert Lewandowski.
Who else?
Yeah, imagine that. Robert Lewandowski scoring a goal. Alphonso Davies was sent off towards the end for a second yellow card.
Too late.
Yeah. It is what I don't think he really cared less, to be honest. He knew that he was going to be wearing a fat number 8 on his shirt at the end of the game. Bremen, though, do you feel sorry for him?
Personally, not, because I don't like them. But if I had to look at this in an objective way, I would say yes, because this was quite a promising match day for them. Playing against Munich. Mm-hmm. Is a bonus match if you can maybe at least draw. It's a bonus point, and if you lose, no one says okay, that's not bad. But looking at the matches, Dortmund, Mainz, and Paderborn, Leipzig, where both of the Düsseldorf and of Mainz could secure points, that was very bad for Bremen. I saw a meme with I don't know, SpongeBob SquarePants, the TV show.
Yeah.
With SpongeBob and Patrick opening like a box. For that, and inside was Werder Bremen logo, and they said, "Come in." Yeah, no one was expecting the other teams to secure some points, and now Bremen are in a very tough situation because Mainz is, I believe, 6 points away. They won't. Their only hope is the playoff matches, but yeah, we will see. Düsseldorf is in the pole position now. And I can believe that Düsseldorf wins against Augsburg next Saturday.
Yeah.
So it will be very, very tough for Bremen to secure Bundesliga.
Well, we're going to look at the fixtures later on today, but we'll get them out because all the games are on Saturday this week, and there's just some key results. We've been talking about it so many times, saying, Bremen, don't worry about it. Just put the kids out. You're going to get pumped, and then just focus on your last 2 games. I don't think they're expecting any of those results to happen this midweek, and it's put them in a bit of a precarious position now. I mean, like Bremen, they've got Mainz away on Saturday. When we've got Düsseldorf, they're at home to Augsburg. It's not looking very pretty down there at all, and
two massive matches in the fight of staying in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, exactly that. Bremen, I felt they were unlucky at times, but to be fair, it was only going to be a matter of time before Bayern scored. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, and it's even if they hadn't scored for a couple of minutes more, it's like Bayern Munich. They score even in the last 5 or 10 minutes or in the last minutes. That's typical Bayern Munich way of playing, because like what they have on their kids and in what their motto is, Mia San Mia. It's the way they play. You know what it means?
No, I don't actually. You got a translation for that?
It's Bavarian.
Yeah.
And it means we are we.
Oh, right, okay.
So like we are special. We are a special kind of team. And we do things our own way, and their way is always believe in your strength, always believe in that you're the winner, that you're the best. And that's a way of playing they transport for so many years now. And it's no coincidence that they are champions for 8 times in a row. And that's why they score very often last minute goals.
Yeah.
It's not any luck, it's ability. what they do.
Yeah, and they do find ways of just grounding teams down. The only Bavarian that I know is Servus, which is goodbye, and I discovered that because I was in Munich for the Champions League final in 2012, and
It's also hello.
oh, is it? See, it's so
Yeah.
confusing in Bavaria. So I said I was on the way out. I was like, "Choose," and they were like, "No, you don't say choose in Bavaria. You say Servus." I was like, "Oh, bloody hell, I didn't know that." So yeah, get to Munich, first time ever in Germany, upset and wind everyone up within 30 seconds of being there. But Bayern Munich are crowned champions. That is the biggest shock in the history of football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, even kids who went to school and just know Bayern Munich as champions. Every 8-year-old just knows Bayern Munich as champions.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
As worse as it is in Scotland at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
to be fair, like if you're 11 or 12, it's all you think. Because when you think about your earliest knowledge of football, you'd be 3 or 4 years old. It's like, well, how it works is there's 17 teams in the Bundesliga, all fighting for second best. That's what it is. Same in Italy. But I will still stand by the fact that Bundesliga is the most entertaining league in the world. I'd say the most competitive is the Premier League, but in terms of entertainment, I've said it about Bundesliga football for the last 10 years, and one of the most exciting teams in the Bundesliga is Borussia Mönchengladbach, and they won 3-0 at home to Wolfsburg, a brace from Hoffmann and a goal from Stindl towards the end. No Alisson player and no Marcus Thuram. I was thinking they might not do very well in front of goal, but who am I kidding? What a great replacement is. Well, it was Embolo and Hoffmann as the front two.
Yeah, I was thinking the same way you did. And I was really surprised that they won so clearly and scored so many goals, because Wolfsburg is known for quite a decent defense, especially in away games.
Mm-hmm.
We just realized that in Leverkusen a couple of weeks ago when we lost 4-1 to them, and thought that Gladbach could have transfer their offensive way of playing so well on those two players. Stindl is great. He's
consistent, isn't he?
He's one of the most important players for their games. But Hoffmann was, for a long time, was like always a talent,
Mm.
As you said, what did you say to me once? All the gear, no idea, or something like that?
All the gear, no idea, yeah.
It was kind of like that. He played for Borussia Dortmund. He changed to Gladbach, but he was never able to become over the role of a substitute or a bench player. Still kind of good, and now he seems to grow and to change his role, especially when Thuram and Player are not in the squad, and maybe are not in the squad until the end of the season, which are only 8 or 9 days from now. So
yeah, exactly.
The Bundesliga will be over soon.
I know, it's upsetting already. It's mad. Like we've just had it come back, and it's the end of the season already. The first goal though from Hoffmann could have been disallowed, and I think it should have been down to the letter of the law nowadays. Now, Wolfsburg were on the attack, and the shot cannoned off Matthaus, and they went on a counter-attack straight away, and Bolo found Hoffmann, Bosch 1-0. I don't think it even went to VAR, did it?
No, it didn't, and VAR is behaving very poorly in the last 1 or 2 weeks, or the last 2 match days. Mm-hmm. There were very many decisions or not decisions from VAR, mm-hmm. which the fans in Germany couldn't understand. Like lots of handball decisions, but also many fouls and red cards. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the scene with Alphonso Davies in Bremen. He kicked his opponent. It's obvious red card, and VAR didn't even say a word to the referee to watch. It's the same here in Gladbach with the goal. Mm-hmm. So I believe the referees at the German at the DFB, German Football Association, should sit together after the season and analyze their mistakes from the last weeks.
Yeah,
but look at England. Not even your goal line.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh well, God, yeah, goal line doesn't even work. I think that I don't think there's anyone in the world that hasn't seen that. And if you saw the Sheffield United Twitter, as soon as it happened, they just put really. That's all it said. Poor Sheffield United. It helped my mate out because he won a couple of quid on that because I had a 0-0 draw anyway.
What did I told you in advance? I said Sheffield would maximum get a draw.
Yeah, you did say that.
With a little luck.
For sport veteran, I'm just literally going to come over to you. That's all I'm going to
No,
be
better
doing.
not.
The second goal from Gladbach came from a knockdown by Liner. I really like Liner, by the way. He's knocked down, found Hoffman, who got his brace. And he could have actually got a hat-trick on the hour mark. Probably one of the easier chances that he had. He was about 15 yards out and he dragged it wide. And that would have made him a little cult hero in Gladbach. But failed to do that. However, Traore squared the ball, found Lars Stindl, who swept it home first time. And I thought that was a really, really tidy finish to make it 3-0. And Gladbach really deserve it. And they want top four. They're really trying for it. I know Leverkusen want top four as well. Leverkusen's result of the weekend didn't really help them, but it's a very interesting run-in to see who's going to get those Champions League spots. And also, the Europa League spots will be decided down to 7th place based on the conversation that we had last time out, because of the Pokal, knowing that both Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen will both be playing European football. It allows a team like Freiburg to get in there. Do you see my little segues? Do you see what I'm doing there? It's really clever. Freiburg 2, Hertha Berlin 1. The goals come from Grifo, lovely free kick, penalty from Ibisevic. I don't actually put penalty in the corner of that like I normally do. And Niels Peterson made it 2-1. However, it could have been 1-0 to Hertha Berlin with an absolute world-class hit. I think that is the best disallowed goal of all time from Luca Bacchio. Luca Bacchio is someone who's actually, I've been slating quite a lot actually, because I thought he was pretty terrible since the restart. I didn't think he was all that beforehand, but since the restart, he's not been great. And then the last couple of games, I think he's really started to step up again.
Yeah, I remember a true word the commentator said in the match after that goal. He said that this goal would have helped him to get in the right way again, to get in the right line again. Because since he was playing for Berlin, he was quite okay. But in summer, he was their record transfer of all time.
Yeah.
And he never could fulfill this role. So he was really struggling, and especially after winter break with all the newcomers from Piontek and Cunha, and he was always struggling, and he was trying and could not score such a good goal, or could not have such an impact. Now he had that goal, which would have been a massive booster for him.
It's one of the best goals I've ever seen. Basically, for people that haven't seen it,
back, yeah.
He is about 30 yards out, and he scooped it out with one foot and absolutely laced it with his other one. It goes right in the top corner. No goalkeeper in the world is going to save it. And it's if you do get a chance to go back and watch the highlights, please do. It was, as I said, it's one of the best goals I've seen. It is the best goal I've ever seen that's been disallowed. It's such a shame.
I would go with that.
It's such a shame. It goes to VAR anyway, and there's a foul in the break in the build-up, in a very similar position as to where the handball was in the Gladbach-Wolfsburg game, and they've gone back and. To be fair, it's not a very nice tackle, and Darida got a yellow card. Darida had a match from hell, I think. I feel sorry for him.
I gained the impression that Darida wanted to help his former colleagues because he is a former Freiburg player.
Yeah.
So I believe he forgot which team to play for.
He must have. He got so confused. Both teams are really fighting for a European berth this season as well. But there's the free kick a couple of minutes later on for Grifo. 1-0. Bosch. I don't think the goalkeeper did very well with that. I felt his positioning was wrong, and the fact that he led with both arms rather than two arms, it seemed to push the ball into the back of the net. And I don't think, it reminded me a lot of Ospina when he was playing for Arsenal. He used to do those sort of goalkeeping faux pas, and he's made a I don't know, he's made a career. The equaliser came from the penalty spot by Vedan Ivicevic. I like to call him Evergreen Vedan Ivicevic because he's been around for years. Was he 36 now? 35, 36?
35, 36, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Petkovic was taken out by Robert Koch, and then Ivicevic stepped up. Every penalty, all of his last 12 penalties, if they've hit the target, they've hit the back of the net. Only one penalty is missed, and that went wide. So keepers don't save Vedad's pens. That's the way it is. So that was only literally like 3-4 minutes after the opening goal, but some casual passing at the back. The goalkeeper passed it to Derrida. Derrida, once again, as you just said, must have got confused as to what team he was playing for, and Niels Peterson finds it and puts it home. That's his 25th goal from the bench, Mr. Super Sub.
He is definitely the best sub in the Bundesliga. He's such a great joker and a great striker. I really like him because he knows where the goal is, and he's working a lot for the team, and he always has his, 10 to 15 goals every season.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he's not starting 11 in Freiburg. That's a very different relationship between him, Christian Streich, and Freiburg. Everyone lost him over there.
It's almost a little bit offensive.
He's a hero, but he's not. He's scoring all the goals, and he's still not playing all the matches. And
what's he need to do?
But he doesn't want to change the club. He loves living down there in Freiburg, what is one of the best areas in Germany, I can tell.
I was going to say,
if you ever go to a football match, you have to go there.
I've been to Germany many times. I've lived in Germany, as people know. I've travelled to, I lived in Berlin. I've travelled to Dusseldorf, Dortmund, or into Bremen. I've been to, I've been all over Germany. But I've never been to Freiburg. I've never heard anyone talk about Freiburg. What's Freiburg like as a town/city?
It's, from my point of view, it's the best town in Germany because it's 250,000 inhabitants.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too big, but it's far enough away from every other big city like Munich or Stuttgart or something like that. So you have a whole city with everything you need.
Yeah.
You have the best weather in Freiburg, in whole Germany. Really,
yeah.
You have, and it's always sunny, or most of the time it's sunny down there. You have a little river through the city. You have a nice old town, and the people are absolutely relaxed. They have such a great way of living there. They're so nice, friendly. I simply love it there. I have a couple of friends, or I found a couple of friends down there when I was on the away match with Leverkusen, and it's just the atmosphere around the stadium. The stadium is standing right in front of the Black Forest. And you can, from the guest area, you can see the Black Forest behind the stadium.
Nice.
Next to the stadium, you have a huge beer garden from a local tennis club.
I'm interested now. It might be 9 a.m. in England, but I'm already interested.
But you need to be quick because they're building. At the moment, they're building a new stadium, and they wanted to change their stadium for the upcoming season, but due to Corona, they need a couple of more times. So maybe, if we're lucky, or if football fans are lucky, that they will have the stadium for another year. And this stadium is just, it's small, it's tiny, it's old. It looks a little bit like an English stadium.
It's like traditional, like English stadium, football league ground.
Yeah, exactly like this. So you have nothing really fits together. One stand is looking different than the other one, and it's in the middle of the town, so it's quite old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just lovely scenery in the back, and lovely people around there. No trouble with any fans, but it's just still a good atmosphere. People are always joyful, cheerful. You can have great beer in the city. I don't know. I guess you will love it.
Well, it looks like there might be a hope for an English club to draw them in the Europa League should they make it there for next season, because it sounds like it's actually... I love Germany anyway. Everyone knows I think Germany is the best country in the world. And you've sold Freiburg to me. I've never thought about going to Freiburg, and the flights are so cheap from the UK as well. So it's something that I'm definitely going to look into in the future. Where shall we go next? Let's go to the capital. As we've spoken about Hertha, let's talk about their city rivals, Union Berlin. they relegated Paderborn with a 1-0 win. Zelinski's own goal there. Paderborn had more possession and more opportunities than Union Berlin, but that's not really a surprise, is it?
Nah, it isn't. It's a surprise that Union Berlin could stay in the Bundesliga, because next to Paderborn, they were the biggest underdog for me in the beginning of the season. And because of that, there was quite a celebration before the stadium, which wasn't really fit to the current corona measures in Germany.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know, what, like 50 fans, something like that, standing right next or right in front of the stadium gates and waiting for the team. The team was a couple of meters away, so no one could get infected, but the fans were like a whole crowd with the 50 people and celebrating and having fun on the street. Was quite funny. It's a special club, and this was one of the moments that prove it again.
Yeah, special is definitely one way of putting it. Paderborn, they never really stood any hope. They've only picked up 4 wins. They've got 2 games left. In fact, who's their game at the weekend? At the weekend, they have got Gladbach at home. It's not looking good for them. It really isn't looking good for them. Union Berlin, they just have no talent, but they work so strongly as a team, don't they?
They do. And I believe they were driven through the emotions from the promotion last summer. And the first Bundesliga year was very special. And they have had a great atmosphere in their stadium. So that's why they secured so many points at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm afraid that if the second season is up to come now, a little bit of that drive will go away, because it's second year Bundesliga, things become normal. It's a development we see very often in Germany. We have teams also like Darmstadt a couple of years ago, who promote, managed to stay in the Bundesliga for a year, but the second year is way more difficult. Or look at Düsseldorf last year, very good season in the midfield of the table, and now really struggling. So the second year will be more difficult for them than the first year.
You tend to find that happens quite a lot in the Premier League as well. Like second season syndrome happened to
Huddersfield,
exactly,
League,
Class A example. And then second year, because like for instance, even Burnley won their first year back. They looked really good, and then the second season, little bit of Europe screwed them a touch. We thought that would happen to Wolves this year. Clearly hasn't. They're flying, and that could happen to Sheffield United, because Sheffield United remind me a little bit of Union Berlin. There's no real talented players, but as a team, they are a talent, if that makes sense. So for the team, they work together. They do everything, what's right by the club, without having any standout flagship players, so to speak. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens at Union Berlin. They don't really have a lot of money, do they?
Nah, they don't. They live through the community of their fans. As you know, the fans rebuilt the stadium, and they want to extend the stadium in the next couple of years. Maybe this could become a factor that they increase their income and their wealth. But till then, it's very difficult for them, because the bigger sponsors are going to Hertha, because it's a bigger club. They only have rather local sponsors. They're like their area, Köpenick, isn't even Berlin. It belongs to Berlin, but if you've been there, I don't know, have you been there when you lived in Berlin?
It's not really in. But then again, to be fair,
it's a different world.
But to be fair, the Olympia Stadion, from like Friedrichshain, where I was living, and even when I moved to Wedding, it's a long way. Like it's like an hour on the red line. What is it? The U2, I think, or the U8? I can't remember that. But the red one that goes all is at the end of the line. So
the Olympic Stadium is very much in the west, in Charlottenburg, and Alte Försterei is very much in the east, the southeast of Berlin.
I do like Berlin for a good night out. Warschauer Straße, all the stuff going on down there. That's a bit of me. That is. There's a nightclub there called Yam. Oh, that's a different story for a different time. But I'll tell you what, right? The hip hop and reggae that they were playing in there was beyond a joke. It was so good. Honestly, it's the best night out I've ever had in my life. Frankfurt. My lovely Frankfurt. Let's talk about them. Frankfurt 2, Schalke 1. Silva scored again.
Best player in Bundesliga.
Best player in Bundesliga. Abraham made it 2-0. McKennie, he pulled one back. Then Bosdogan was sent off on 78 minutes. Talk to me about those goals and about that red.
The goals were very quickly talked about. Was the first goal was a counter attack, which was played very well from Frankfurt, and Adrian Silva just needed to score in the 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper, which he did in a quite good manner. Okay, the second goal.
He's jammed his way throughout this second half of the season, man. Honestly, he is.
Yeah, but look at his stats now. He played 21 games, he got 11 goals. So
his stats make him look like a world-class player. Honestly, it'll be at, I don't know, it'll be at someone like Rio Ave next year or Valenciennes. You know, it's like he gets found out and then he'll be playing a relegation battler in Portugal.
Yeah, but now he seems to be a good replacement for like Jovic, Haller, and Rebic, which were a massive front three last year, and. Together with Bastos, it's worse, of course, but it's quite okay for Frankfurt. You know, they had their problems this season, but now they're at 8th place, 41 points, far away from relegation. Tiny chance for Europe.
I can actually see Newcastle buying someone like Andre Silva. They'll see the end of his form and be like, "Oh, he's good. He's good. Yeah,
35 million points, no problem."
And the rest, do you know what I mean? Like, they paid 40 million for Joe Ellington. Do you know what I mean? So like they'll probably pay like 60 or 70 million for him, and he'll score 1 in like 9. And it'll get found out. Sorry. Anyway, what about the second goal?
The second goal was a header after a corner. Bad defending from Schalke. Schalke's goal was also a header from McKennie after a corner. But the whole game was about like Frankfurt controlling the game until the 2-0 and missed scoring the third goal. And then, you know, as the game can change, corner, bad defending, 2-1. Schalke became a little more brave then afterwards. They had one of the youngest squads ever, with an age of around 23 years, I believe. And they started to create a little pressure, but Frankfurt was able to save the 3 points and keep their tiny chance for Europe this year.
Well, I felt like the first 15-20 minutes, Schalke were on the front foot. I remember actually, like for people that that haven't seen the show before, between the top presenters across all our shows, we've got a WhatsApp group and we're always talking and stuff in the group. But I remember I was about 10-15 minutes of the game sending a message over in the group saying, "Look at Schalke, they're on the front foot. They're doing all right here." You know, I think their fortunes have changed, but clearly not. Frankfurt were just a little bit too strong for them.
Yeah, that's where you can see that they have a young team. They were in the beginning. They were quite courageous. I don't know if you can say it like that. Yeah. They tried their best, but it's just running and fighting and giving your best with the age of 18, 19 is mostly not enough in the Bundesliga, because they have some quite talented players like Bojdogan or what's his name, Bujalab or something like that.
Bojdogan did get himself sent off though.
Yeah, I believe he was a little too much motivated. He had a very good debut against Leverkusen on Sunday.
That was his first game. I thought he played a couple of times.
His first game, yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Fair play to him.
So it was the second game yesterday. I believe he will learn from that, and this won't happen again.
Well, probably what he wanted to do was, just get on his summer holidays as quickly as possible. I know things are opening up a lot more in Germany. I know your pubs are open, like some of your pubs and bits and bobs and that. So he thought, do you know what? There's only 2 games left. I'm just going to sit down and take the rest of the season off. All right then. Let's wrap up a couple more games because I know that you've got a meeting to go to. Augsburg 1, Hoffenheim 3. Let's talk about that. Where's that game? There we are. Hoffen 0-0 at half time. You got the removal men in. You got the removal men, or was that Amazon delivery?
Kind of both. No, we have we renovated our office because we grew very much with the whole membership department, and coincidentally, we renovated in a good Corona way. So now before we had the huge office open space, but now we have some couple smaller offices. And as you can see, there's glass behind me, so I'm sitting in a.
You guys say you have to turn it a bit.
3 people.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And I believe these guys are just putting some images on the glass that not everybody can watch through it. So if I'm doing a show while I'm working, nobody can see it anymore.
That's dedication. Two up top comes first, Bayer Leverkusen second.
I have to admit, I've been in the office. Well, I was in the office at 7 a.m. already, so I got a quiet space of time.
I was definitely asleep. And as I said, after this show, I will be going back to bed. Augsburg 1, Hoffenheim 3. Let's talk about that. So as I said, it was half time at 0-0. And in the second half, Hoffenheim got 2 quick goals from De Boer on the hour mark. Well, just before the hour mark and just after the hour mark. Vargas pulled one back with 20 minutes to go, but Baby put it to bed in the last couple of minutes. What do you think of De Boer's performance?
I think he becomes better and better. He changed them in winter. Of course, the Corona breakdown was a problem, but now he develops to an important factor. He seems to balance their attacking game in relation to Kramaric. In the beginning of the season, everyone was focused on Kramaric because he was the only one from the offense left.
Yeah,
the only good player. But now De Boer seems to fill that gap that was left by Joe Linton, for example.
Yeah, it's mad because Joe Linton actually had an all right season last year, didn't he? So I understand.
Yeah, he scored 15 goals, something like that. He was. He has a great physical. He has a great body. He was a good heading player. He scored, I believe, 2 goals in Leverkusen and kicking us out 4-0 or 4-1 last season. So. He played a decent Bundesliga season and changed to Newcastle and couldn't get a feet on the ground.
Yeah, and he's only scored 1 in the league for Newcastle, which is fantastic stuff. Poor Barger. Yeah, Augsburg, they're safe. What do you think of Augsburg and what can they do for next season? Because I think of them as like a Union Berlin, but stronger. So their players were better quality, but they don't have real like standout players, but they work together. And they've got like Finn Bogartson and Niederlechner.
Yeah, they're like Union Berlin, but maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead because they have a new stadium for 30,000 people. It's not the prettiest one, but it's functional. It's okay. It fulfills all the requirements from the Bundesliga, so that's quite good. They've managed to stay in the league for 8 years in consecutive now, 8 consecutive years, and they have a very good team spirit. To be honest, they don't have that many fans, but that's difficult because they're like 80 kilometers away from Munich. So the most people in Bavaria go to Munich, and only the people from Augsburg, from within the city, go to Augsburg. But they do very good work. From an objective point of view, with few money, they always achieve to stay in the Bundesliga. And what for me is the most important point, what very remarkable is, after the Corona breakdown, most of the German clubs, like 15 or 16, sent their people, their employees into short-time work. You have something like that in England, what Liverpool tried to do with their employees.
Yeah, the furlough scheme, yeah.
Yeah, we have something like that in Germany too. Like that the state pays 60% of your wages, and most of the Bundesliga clubs took advantage of that. The only clubs which didn't were Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen, and Augsburg. Although they haven't the most money in the league, and the president said it cannot be possible that the Bundesliga club, who receives millions from TVs and the media and sponsors, uses the state to pay its employees' wages. And they were, for me, a very great example for how a football club should be leaded.
Yeah, I think
and managed.
that's really good. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. And the fact that you reeled out the first three names of like the biggest clubs in Bundesliga football, they didn't do it, which I'm happy about. I think it puts when a team like Augsburg, who haven't got a lot of money, then do it. I think it puts to shame the other clubs, especially like Bremen and Wolfsburg, and which grab back teams that are big clubs in Bundesliga football that have got lots of money, lots of history, and they're putting their staff on furlough. Yet Augsburg with pennies say no, we're not doing it.
And that's why I'm very happy for them to stay in the Bundesliga, because this will have a relegation would have been horrible for them and regarding their finances. But now they've deserved to stay in the Bundesliga.
That's got me in the feels a little bit. I'm finding too many affiliate clubs in Bundesliga. Do you know what? I'm literally going to just get all shirts. Apart from Bayern. I'm not
talking about Augsburg. As I said, the stadium is not that spectacular, and the atmosphere is okay. But
their spirit's there.
The city is great.
Yeah,
I believe you will love the city. Bavarian city, many beer houses.
Oh, I love Bavaria.
Great old town. And also a great club scenery, because it's too far away from Munich clubs, like clubs and discos. But all the people from around Augsburg and Augsburg go to Augsburg. Similar with Freiburg, so you have quite a couple of decent clubs and discos in the city. So I also spent there a great night, because I've known some Augsburg players.
Oh, okay.
And we've been to a club. Also, a story for another day, but I can just one sentence. Raul Bobadilla, he's massive. He's like, I don't know, he doesn't fit through the door. He's so huge. And he came to the club with I don't know, two of his friends or bodyguards, something like that, which were even more massive. Unbelievable. God. And I was sitting. I'm not the biggest. I was sitting between them, and I was like, okay, what am I doing here?
I was going to say, you make me look fat. Right, last couple of games that we'll wrap up before we disappear and let you get on with some actual work. Let's talk about Leipzig. Leipzig 2, Dusseldorf 2. Another game that was goalless at half time. But that changed. Kevin Campbell. What a strike. What an absolute strike. That is definitely goal of the month, and arguably a contender from goal of the season. Is on the left-hand side. Is a good 25, 30 yards out, and he's just put his right peg around it, and it's looped over the goalkeeper. I say looped over. He's got a bit of pace as well. And it's just arrowed straight towards the far post and goes in. 1-0, party time. Timo Werner, he made it 2-0. With literally about 2 minutes later. It's so funny because the commentator said, that's what Timo Werner, give him his chance and he will always score. Well, no, he doesn't. So he's missed a lot of sitters this year. So good finish though, very good finish. Game over. They're looking at potentially leapfrogging Dortmund to get into second place. Well, no, Shribsky. Yes, I can say his name now. Made it 2-1 3 minutes to go. Then Hoffman from a corner with an equaliser, and that Dusseldorf result has literally mixed everything up down the bottom.
If you want to be mean for Leipzig, you can say a draw is not a surprise, because they've drawn all the last home games.
Yeah, 6 of the last 7 games at home they've drawn now.
Yeah. But it was a little well-deserved for Düsseldorf, because they lost a lot of points in the last minutes. And now it seems to be it was the first match for ages that they could secure a point in the last minute.
Yeah.
And what a massive point for them. They're now 1 point ahead of Bremen in the pole position for the playoff matches to stay in the Bundesliga.
Absolutely giant. And if we go back,
no one would have expected that. And I believe this goal and this point can release some energy Also regarding the match on Saturday against Augsburg, because
Yes, they've
Augsburg
got
is
Augsburg
nearly
at home.
through. They have 6 points and 10 goals ahead of Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf plays at home against Augsburg. I believe Düsseldorf will make that match, will make that game, win that game, and make it even more complicated for Bremen.
Yeah, that for me is going to be played at like a cup final for Düsseldorf. Leipzig, during the week last week, we realised that the Champions League will be going ahead, and all the quarterfinals, the semi-final, and the final will all be played in Lisbon. Now, one player who has already opened up and said that he will not be part of that Leipzig squad is Timo Werner. Just pretty much sealing the idea of him going to Chelsea in the summer. Do you think it's a good idea that he's omitting himself from the squad?
I don't know. From fan point of view, I would say, I can't understand that kind of behavior, because he has a good squad with Leipzig. They have a good position in Champions League. They're in quarterfinals. Maybe they'll have a great match to play against Real Madrid, something like that. If Real Madrid is able to win against Man City. But can't understand why you throw that away. But it's, in the end, I guess it's just about money. You will sign the contract in London, and they say, okay, you don't play Champions League, you play for us the moment the contract starts. So
I think from a player's point of view, I think it's one of the most selfish things going.
Yeah.
You know, Leipzig have already proved that their home form is absolutely shocking. If they had to play 2 games in each round of the quarterfinals in particular, I wouldn't trust them at home, but they've got a good chance away. The fact they're going over to Portugal, they're 2 wins away from a Champions League final, and on a one-off game, you can win that. So
yeah,
that could have been his first opportunity for silverware, being the most coveted prize in club world football. I think it's damn right out of order, and I think this actually says a little message to Chelsea fans about questioning loyalty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's I don't think he's doing the noble thing there at all. But we'll see. It might work in his favour. Leipzig might get knocked out at the quarterfinal stage. But I really want Leipzig to do well now in the Champions League, just to put 2 fingers up to Werner and say, well, you're going to treat us like this, then screw you. Patrick Schick probably bagging with his head or something. But Leipzig 2-0 up after an hour. They had 3 or 4 opportunities as well. Dani Olmo had another good game. Why are they finding it so hard at home?
I don't know, and I believe they even don't know themselves. Maybe it's just they're too sure at home. I can't imagine. It's so difficult. But what I can imagine is that Julian Nagelsmann must be pissed. He is so ambitious, and they were in winter, before winter break at Christmas, they were ahead of the league, and they were
top in January. But it's the thing, like before the Corona break, they were still drawing games at home, which they should be winning.
Yeah, everyone was expecting them to be a very good competitor for Bayern Munich this season, or maybe the most promising competitor. But the way they played at the end of the season is just, I don't know, shocking, very bad.
Yeah, it is.
Lucky for them, they had such a good, so many good matches in the before Christmas, so that Champions League is quite sure for them. But
a bit like Schalke with their relegation woes, isn't it? Good start of the season has absolutely saved their skin towards the end of it. And why not? Why don't we talk about your boys? We haven't spoken about them yet. Bayer Leverkusen 3, Cologne 1. Goals from Bender, Havertz, and Diaby for the home side. Bornau scored just on the hour mark, which could have made it a bit hairy for Bayer Leverkusen. But it's a really interesting fight between Leverkusen and Mönchengladbach for who takes 4th spot, and it's keeping me very interested in the Bundesliga this year. But before the game, we were talking about Leon Bailey and the fact that Leon Bailey hasn't really done a lot. We're not very impressed with him since his breakthrough season. I actually said since he decided that he was going to play for Jamaica, he's not actually been very good since. He got a couple of assists there and looked pretty shiny yesterday.
Leon Bailey is like a roller coaster. He has those heights, those lows. He has good games, he has not so good games, and I always have the impression that if he plays against bigger teams or stronger teams, he's better, and if he plays against smaller teams, he's not that good. So that's why I was surprised that he had quite a good match day yesterday. Lucky for us, and I hope he can maybe one day get some consistency in his performances, because he's definitely a player who could make the next step away from Leverkusen to one of Europe's top clubs. But the way he plays for Leverkusen is not enough to make that step.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's difficult to guarantee yourself a position in that side at the end of the day, because your front four, Kai Havertz leading the line, and your three in behind, you got Diaby, Bellarabi, Alario chips in every now and then, like sits a little bit deeper. Derin Bay,
Volland,
Kevin Volland. So how does Leon Bailey step ahead of those guys, or is it just a case of him happy being part of the squad? He knows he'll get his chance at some point.
Yeah, he already was ahead then, because he was there both before, like Diaby. Bellarabi was had a lot of injuries, and the main problem from Bailey, from my point of view, is that his stepfather, who also is his manager, hasn't the best influence on him, because he always is like very loud, very noisy, always talking some shit chat about his son, that he's the best player in the world. I don't know, and if his father would be a little more calm and would teach Bailey to be a little more calm, to focus on the really important matters, I believe he could make his way, because he has all the gear.
He has all the gear and some idea. I was really impressed with Diaby. I thought he finished his opportunity really well. I really like how young the squad is at Leverkusen, and I think if they could keep these names together, keep Havertz, keep Diaby, keep Bailey, and keep the experienced players as well, because you've got a few really good experienced players knocking around there to level head the kids. I think there is a decent opportunity that you can push for a title in the next couple of years.
I hope so. We will have the chance at the cup final. But the way of Leverkusen is always signing promising players, develop them, and sell them for more money. So I'm afraid the same will happen to all the names you just mentioned.
So you're the Leon of Bundesliga football.
Yeah, something like that. Or in European terms, the Benfica Lissabon of Bundesliga football, or Porto FC, or something like that. But,
no, they win titles, mate.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm sure in Portugal we would also win a title.
Oh, yeah, pretty sure.
But no, at the moment we were able to keep the squad together, at least for next year. I don't believe that we will have any major losses, maybe except Kai Havertz. But it's just one. Also, although it's a key player, it's just one player. One player can always be replaced.
Yeah,
and I trust in Palacios, who haven't played a lot, in Demirbay and Amiri, to develop and to fill the gap which will be left by Havertz.
Yeah.
And even without Havertz, we still have a competitive squad for next year, and we should focus on the cups, like Europa League or German Cup.
Just get silverware.
This is where we can get some silverware, whatnot, in the Bundesliga.
Well, that's the thing. If you go out and win the Europa League, that gets you in the Champions League anyway. So if you do come fifth for whatever reason, that's even more incentive to throw everything that you've got at the Europa League.
As a fan, the Europa League is for me the most interesting competition for Leverkusen, because we're actually able to win something there with a little luck. You have great away matches like we had in Glasgow against Rangers. Great away tours with the lads. So I love playing Europa League. If I could choose, I would say playing Champions League group stage, get the big money, finish third, get to Europa League, and I don't know, have some quarter or semi-finals every year. Love that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I'll let you. I'll sort of remedy on that one. Let's get the Bundesliga table up. Right. Okay. So as you can see, Bayern Munich are champions now. They can't be caught. There's only 2 games left, so there's 10 points between them and Dortmund after Dortmund's defeat on Tuesday night. Third place is Leipzig on 63 points. And Leverkusen currently occupy the 4th spot. There's 3 Europa League spots up for grabs now because of Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen making it to the Pokal final. So Mönchengladbach currently sit in that 5th place, but they have every chance of leapfrogging Leverkusen. Hope they don't. Hope they do. I don't know how I feel about that. Wolfsburg doing everything they can to throw away 6th spot because Hoffenheim are level on points with them now. Freiburg only a point behind them. So with 2 games left, there's still a chance that Frankfurt in 9th place can get a Europa League spot. At the bottom of the table, Paderborn are gone after their 1-0 defeat to Union Berlin on Wednesday. Werder Bremen, they are second from bottom. They're a point behind Dusseldorf after Dusseldorf picked up a shock draw against Leipzig, and Mainz, even more of a shock. They're now on 34 points, and it's going to be difficult for them to be caught now. So it looks like the bottom 3 will end as it is. It just depends on what order 16th and 17th spot are. The fixtures for this weekend. All the games are on Saturday. All the games are at 2:30. All available on BT Sport on different ways of seeing that. But I'm sure everyone will be watching Arsenal instead. Bayern Munich versus Freiburg. Leipzig versus Dortmund. That'll be an interesting game. Hoffenheim versus Union Berlin. Dusseldorf versus Augsburg. Hertha Berlin, I should say, versus Bayer Leverkusen. Mainz versus Bremen, massive game at the bottom there. Schalke versus Wolfsburg, FC Köln versus Eintracht Frankfurt, and relegated Paderborn. They will face Borussia Mönchengladbach. So there are some very interesting games still to be played, and still things that we don't know the answers of. And this weekend will sort of answer those questions for everybody wanting to know what's happening with Europa League, Champions League, and down the bottom.
Looking forward to this weekend because we have some final matches at this weekend, and especially race for Champions League. I believe that Leverkusen and Gladbach will win the last 2 games. So if Leverkusen won't, I'm afraid they will lose their position because I'm 100% sure that Gladbach will be able to beat Paderborn and Berlin. And also having an eye on fight for relegation or fight against relegation. Mainz against Bremen, as you said.
Quite
interesting match. Yeah. Most important game for Bremen in the season.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a do or die game.
It is. It really is. If they lose that, Dusseldorf will beat, or at least get a point, I would say. But I think they will beat Augsburg because Augsburg are safe. They've got nothing to worry about down there. So I think that's them. That's them done. So, right then. Well, Flo, thank you very much for joining me on the show today. If you're watching this live, we'll be back later on today with our top 5s. We're reviewing the top 5 worst goalkeepers of all time, not just in the Premier League, of all time. So we're going to talk about that. If you're listening back to this, then you need to go back onto anchor.fm/TUTF, which stands for Two Up Top Football. You have to listen back to all our shows. This weekend, there's plenty of shows on. We have got a preview show on Saturday. We have the Bundesliga review show on Sunday and the Premier League review show also on Monday morning. But for myself and Flo Wolfrum, thank you and goodbye.